Hi guys, it's Danny. Alrighty, today I'm gonna answer some questions that are left unanswered on my channel. If you know me, you know that I usually answer all of your comments, or at least I try. I might miss a few, but it's not intentional. However, there are some comments that I never replied to, and this is because there is a setting in your G+ account that doesn't let people outside your circles reply to you or actually write to you anything on YouTube. That kinda sucks. So anyway, in the description below, you'll find a tutorial, a video tutorial on how to change your settings. If you change these settings and then leave me a comment, I will be able to reply to you, and usually I reply every day. So today I took the questions that I left unanswered on my channel and I'm gonna answer to you today. If you see yourself and your name in this video, please know that I do see your comment. I'm trying to reply to you, but I cannot, so do check the description and learn how to set your account so that I can reply to you. Okay, so the first question comes from my viewer Gabriel, and he's asking, when and how do you cut off the leaves of the pseudobulbs? And the answer is, well, never and never. Pseudobulbs and leaves are there for a reason. Leaves produce photosynthesis, so they feed the plant, and old pseudobulbs store energy and nutrients, and it actually helps the new growth. If the leaves or pseudobulbs of an orchid are severely damaged or rotting, it's okay to cut them off, but this is the only instance where I would cut them off. If nothing's wrong with them, they're perfectly fine and green, just leave them be. Don't cut anything from your orchid unless it's dead or sick or on its way out. Okay, next question comes from Diane, and she's asking, if you repot the orchid, do you put all the extra growing roots in the pot or should you leave them hanging out? Well, it really depends on the orchid. Epiphyte orchids sometimes produce what we call aerial roots, and this is because they are epiphytes, and in their natural habitat they do grow in air, sort of. They grow attached to trees, so the roots are not in soil. So if your Phalaenopsis has some roots in the pot and then some aerial roots which are not in the pot, when you repot that orchid, whether it's a Phalaenopsis or any type of orchid, I think it's a good idea to leave the aerial roots outside. As long as you have roots inside the pot to have that humidity, everything is okay. The roots outside the pot are actually adapted to withstand lower humidity. So when you repot an orchid, whatever roots were in the pot, put them back in the pot, and whatever roots were in the air, you should leave them out because they're not adapted to a lot of humidity and they might rot in the pot. Okay, the next question comes from Nancy, and she's asking, do I directly put Epsom salt on the plant? Okay, Epsom salt or magnesium sulfate is something that I started to use recently, so I think you're referring to that particular video. And the answer is no, I do not put Epsom salt directly on the plant or on the media or inside the pot. What I do is I dilute 1 teaspoon into about 5 liters of water. I make sure that all the salt is completely mixed in and diluted into the water, and then I use that water to water the orchid. Practically, it's like using a normal fertilizer. But no, I don't think it's a good idea to put salt directly on the roots or on the media. It might burn them. Okay, the next question comes from Mike. Danny, I just repotted my Phalaenopsis because I had it for like a year now. I cut the dead roots and was wondering if I should water after I repot the orchid. Well, okay, this is a personal choice. I know there are people who say that while you repot an orchid, you might snap some of the roots, and if you don't water it, the roots will callus over and practically you'll avoid some infections. To be perfectly honest with you, I never do this. I've never had issues with roots getting infected in any way, so personally I do water orchids after I repot them. Also, it really depends on the orchid. If you're repotting a Phalaenopsis or an orchid which really needs water, it's not a good idea to leave it 2 weeks, let's say, unwatered, especially if you have a dry or kind of warm environment. So my personal way is to water them after I repot them, and I've never had any trouble, but I do know there are people who don't water. The bottom line is just make sure you don't dehydrate your orchid by not watering, especially if you're dealing with a sick orchid or a dehydrated orchid. In this case, I suggest you do water it after you repot it. Okay, the next question comes from Kanya. What would you prescribe for an orchid that has been burned? It only made the color darker, but I don't want to cut the leaf because it's the main leaf, and there are only 2 leaves. Well, first of all, I suggest that you change the place of your orchid. If it got sunburned, it's obvious that it's in a position where it doesn't like to be. So try to move your orchid in a bright location, but where sun cannot reach it. Also, you can increase the air movement by using a fan. This will actually decrease the temperature on the leaf surface, and this is what actually causes burns. And second of all, if the leaf is not completely damaged, just let it be. If you can cut away the damaged part, you can cut it due to aesthetic reasons, but if you cannot, just let it be. Because the sections of the leaf that are not burned still perform normally, and especially if you don't have many leaves on your orchid, just let them be and place the orchid in a more shaded location. And that's the only thing you can actually do. And of course, watch for infecting of the leaves further on because of the wound. I don't think it will be the case, but it really depends on the situation. Okay, the next question comes from AHL. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, I'm sorry. Okay, I have a question. Does a keiki or can a keiki be considered a seedling? Well, yes and no. It cannot be considered a seedling, obviously, because it did not come from a seed. So if you want to be politically correct, no, it's not a seedling. Also, depends on the size of the keiki. If it's a bigger keiki, of course, it will not be as fragile as a seedling. But you do need to pay more attention to a keiki because it is not a fully developed orchid yet. So mainly give it the same care that you would give a mature orchid, but keep it away from sunburns and extreme conditions because it might be a little bit intolerant to that. Also, you really don't want to lose leaves or pseudobulbs because I'm betting it is a small orchid. But other than that, do try to provide the conditions required by the particular species or hybrid. Okay, next question comes from Hilda. Could you make a video that explains something about the powdery spots on the leaves? Is it a fungus? Well, I don't have a case of that, but yes, it is a fungus. And I think you're referring to powdery mildew, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, being that it is a fungus, the way to treat it is actually pretty simple. If you have a leaf affected, you can spray some hydrogen peroxide 3% on the leaf, and that should take care of the fungus you already have. But you need to treat the cause, and I'm guessing that the cause is lack of ventilation. Fungi do extremely well in humid environments, non-ventilated environments, so if you keep your orchid in a non-ventilated location, I suggest that you move it. Try to create more ventilation around the orchid by opening up windows or placing an orchid in a little bit of a draft, or you can actually use fans as well, and this will keep you much safer from all sorts of fungi and rots and all of that. Also, make sure that the leaves of your orchid are not constantly wet. But I think the main thing you should do is increase ventilation around your orchid in a way or another. Okay, so the next question comes from Jacob. What about Phalaenopsis orchid roots that aren't quite green but are more yellow? Why are these roots yellow? Well, especially in the case of Phalaenopsis, the roots are photosynthesizing, thus creating chlorophyll. And of course, chlorophyll is green. This is why the roots of a Phalaenopsis are usually green. Now, for an orchid to photosynthesize, it needs light. So the roots that are yellow actually do not produce chlorophyll, or do not produce a lot of chlorophyll because they don't have light. And usually the roots that are not on the side of the pot, or the roots that stay in a pot which is not clear or light in color, they will be yellow because they do not photosynthesize. It doesn't mean they're sick, it doesn't mean they don't perform well, it just means they didn't receive enough light. Anyway, if you find yellow roots that are still stiff, don't cut them away because they're not sick. Okay, my next question comes from Oleg. I really like your videos and start to share them with people in Ukrainian and Russian forums. Thank you very much, Oleg. Unfortunately, they do not understand English. Can you add Russian-Ukrainian subtitles, or can I provide you with some? Oleg, that would be amazing. Actually, the reason why I don't add subtitles to my videos is that I don't know many languages that well. I only know Romanian and English to the point of actually making myself understandable, if you get what I mean. But I did have an idea to add subtitles to some of my important videos, let's say tutorials and how to care for, not necessarily updates. But if I try to Google Translate into a language, it will be a mess because Google Translate does not know the context and all the words that I'm using, and nobody will understand anything, and I wouldn't even know because I don't know the language. So I was actually thinking, if some of you guys are willing and have the time and would like to help me out on this thing, we can try to make some subtitles in different languages for the more important videos, let's say for the tutorials and how to care for certain stuff. This is something that I was actually considering, but it does take some time from your guys' time, so I really didn't dare to ask you guys this. But if you do want somehow to help me out, I would appreciate it. So Oleg, if you can provide subtitles in Russian, I would be more than happy. And yeah, just let me know, send me a message or leave me a comment, and yeah, it would be great if we can make some subtitles. And also, if you guys would be willing to do this with me, just leave me a comment or send me a message, and yeah, we'll arrange it. And thank you very much. Okay, next question comes from Mary. Hi Danny, have you ever tried Calia orchids in semi-water culture? I really don't like the semi-water culture for any of my orchids due to my own reasons. It's not that it's wrong, let's say. Anyway, I do have a video in which I discuss about this, and I'll add an annotation on a corner of the screen right now so you can watch that video. I mentioned there my reasons why I don't use semi-water culture. It's a mixture of reasons. It's just a personal thing, and it's just what I believe in. It doesn't mean it's wrong or that you shouldn't do this. You might want to be cautious about it and maybe try out with 1 or 2 orchids before you go ahead and unpot all of your collection. I don't know, it's a personal thing. Maybe it's a touchy subject because I know some of you guys do the semi-water culture. I personally don't find it appealing, but that's just me. And most probably you will not see me have orchids in semi-water culture, particularly because I will be moving to a greenhouse. And environment will change drastically there, and also I want to decorate my greenhouse in a certain way, and semi-water culture does not look good to me. But again, that's just me. Doesn't mean that my personal taste should be your personal taste. Okay, and the last question we're gonna take today comes from Roshan. I have commented to you many times, but you don't reply. I am so sorry, Roshan, but I cannot reply, and I cannot even send you a private message or a message on your channel because of the settings. I don't know whether you are able to see my comment. Please, if you can, reply to me and let me know. I do see your comments, but I cannot reply, and I know you left me a lot of comments. I'm not sure if you still watch my videos. I'm really sorry. I cannot answer your comments in any way, so I really hope you're watching this video, and yeah, do check out the description. Okay guys, this was the video for today. I will be making more of these videos from time to time because I do find a lot of your comments that I cannot reply to, and it's really frustrating. So do check the description below to learn how to set your account. If you don't see yourself in this video, but I have never replied to you, no matter how many comments you left me, this might be the reason. So again, check the description and watch that tutorial and see how you can set your G+ account so that people can actually reply to you on YouTube. Okay guys, thank you for watching this video. If you find it helpful and useful, please give me a thumbs up and also share it with your orchid friends. If you'd like to see more videos from me, just subscribe to my channel. I post on a daily basis, and you can also leave me your questions, suggestions for videos, and anything you'd like in the comment section below, and I will try to get back to you either with a video or a comment. If you click on the left side of your screen, you'll be directed to orchidnature.com, where you'll find care sheets, identification sheets, and also you can talk to us in the forum section. And on the right side of your screen, you can click to watch a video on how to care for Phalaenopsis orchids. Thank you so much for joining. I'll see you next time. Bye!